Coming up on The Charge on Air. Graduation is right around the corner, which means many Knights are gearing up to enter the workforce. Will their degree offer the same employment guarantee as it once did in the past?
UCF's graduate video game design program is making headlines. How the #2 ranked program in the country is trying to keep up with AI in an ever-growing technological world.
The use of nuclear energy continues to be on the rise in the United States. How UCF is keeping up with the surge.
In sports, find out why UCF softball is doing well and what one of its standout players says about the success.
The Charge on Air starts right now. Good afternoon and welcome to The Charge on Air. I'm Edgar Rodriguez.
And I'm Sabrina Hansen. Today is Friday, April 31st, 2026.
The 2025 Cengage Graduate Employability Report finds that recent graduates are experiencing the toughest entry-level labor market in 5 years. Charge on Air reporter Ava Jessum shows us how UCF seniors are feeling the pressure as graduation approaches.
As the semester comes to a close, many UCF students are preparing to enter the workforce. And yet, for many graduates, the future remains unclear. UCF senior Emily Alfieri says she is facing struggles with the current job market.
My capstone class has really kind of opened my eyes and been like, it's not just you graduate, you get a job. It's so much more.
Graduates are now faced with more uncertainty as their degree no longer offers the same employment guarantee it once did.
The 2025 Graduate Employability Report found that current graduates are experiencing the toughest job market in nearly 5 years. Fewer openings has resulted in more competition and increased entry-level job requirements.
The national unemployment rate sits at 4.3% according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and limited job openings have left graduates feeling anxious. Counseling and Psychological Services counselor Cody Fleeman witnesses firsthand how this is impacting students.
I definitely do see sometimes where people will kind of want to come in during the last month, talk about maybe next steps after graduation. For some people, it might just be feelings of lack of motivation.
Forbes reported that only 30% of 2025 college graduates secured entry-level jobs. To combat these difficulties, UCF's Career Services and CAPS are working to guide the graduating class towards strong career starts in hopes of turning uncertainty into opportunity. In Orlando, Ava Jessum, The Charge on Air.
Students who don't know where to start and are struggling with the current job market are encouraged to book an appointment at the Dixon Career Development Center.
It's that time of year. We're saying our final goodbyes to the graduating class of 2026. UCF's commencement kicks off May 8th and 9th at the Addition Financial Arena. If you're heading down, you can find free parking in garages H and D. On Friday, the College of Business and Rosen College of Hospitality lead the way at 9 a.m., followed by Health and Medicine at 2 o'clock. Arts, Humanities, and the Nicholson School wrap up day 1 at 7 p.m. Saturday starts at 9 a.m. with Community Innovation and Education. The College of Sciences follows at 2 o'clock with Engineering and Graduate Studies, closing out the weekend at 7 p.m.
Vincent, or Vinny the Vulture, is a mascot early UCF students rallied behind as an alternate to Citronaut in the late 60s. Though Vinny never won an official vote, his memory was literally preserved, taxidermied, and gifted to then-President Milliken. After years in storage, Vinny the Vulture was presented as a limited edition Day of Giving gift in 2025. Pictured alongside other UCF mascots, students are wondering if the vintage vulture is due for a revival.
Feature the Spirit Splash Duck, Vinny the Vulture, Citronaut, and then of course Pegasus. So he is sort of coming back into the spotlight.
Today, Vinny is the unofficial mascot of the UCF libraries, complete with his own staff directory photo. Library archivist Ariel is hopeful Vinny will be seen more in the future as a part of UCF's modern traditions. With over 300 donations at the recent Day of Giving, pieces of campus history like Vinny can be cherished for years to come.
For many with a criminal record, the path to a university degree is rarely a straight line. At UCF, a mandatory review process often feels like a final barrier to entry. The Charge on Air's Claire Macchiarola highlights the challenges of second chances in higher education.
It's often called a fresh start, but at the University of Central Florida, moving forward sometimes means looking back. Walter Dunn spent nearly 13 years in state prison. Now a statewide coordinator for UCF, he believes true restoration only comes when we look past the paperwork.
We got to change the status quo. Like, we got to rewrite history and start adding people who can add to the education, add to the discussion by giving them a job.
But for many, the paperwork itself is where the journey ends, triggered by one specific moment in the application process. It's just a box. But for justice-impacted applicants, it can become a barrier, triggering a review process that can quietly close the door on those seeking access to higher education. After spending 5 years in prison, Jason Franzek fought to remove that hurdle. Now a shop manager at UCF School of Visual Arts and Design, he says the real tragedy is the talent lost to intimidation.
Okay, that's great that you accept the people that admit and check the box, but what about the people that stop there? How many students did we lose because that's intimidating? And it is. It's honestly a full-on intimidation, and it shouldn't even be there.
Policy remains a hurdle, but these nights are proof that a record is just a chapter, not the whole story.
I saw how transformational education was for me. It gave me literally the keys to walk out of prison. Like, it helped me get my sentence overturned. It gave me that freedom that, I had longed for so long.
In Orlando, Claire Macchiarola, The Charge on Air.
University officials state that the vast majority of applicants who disclose a record are eventually cleared for enrollment. You can find more information on the university's admission process and resources for justice-impacted students on our website.
This year, Nighthon, UCF's largest philanthropy event, celebrated 30 years of giving back to Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital, and preparation for year 31 has already begun. The organization raised over $688,000, and next year they plan to increase that number and also improve turnout at year-round events. Special events coordinator Sophie Kratom says their goal is to return to a higher standard.
Okay, our goal is to raise 1 million. We used to raise $1 million in the past, but now we're at the 600,000 mark. So hopefully to get back to 1 million, gaining more sponsorships from big companies such as Coca-Cola.
Nighthon begins next year's efforts with KT kickoff in August and is now planning more opportunities for clubs and chapters to get involved.
UCF's graduate video game design program is ranked #2 in the world by Princeton Review. Charge on Air reporter Michael Shen shows us what the program is doing to keep up with AI and remain competitive for the remainder of 2026.
Interactive Entertainment Academy is UCF's graduate video game design school. The program is ranked the second best program in the world by the Princeton Review. Technical director Jeremy Paulding says this is because the school mimics industry work.
The students work in a space that resembles a modern-day entertainment studio. They have cubicles with very industry standard setups. They work in industry practices using the same software that the professionals are using.
As artificial intelligence becomes more common in game development, director Ben Knoll says the program is embracing AI as a tool, not a replacement for human skill.
I don't care how good you are on a computer and how much you can write little formulas. If you don't understand how the math works, you're not going to get very far. So it's this very similar thing. You have to learn how to do it and then learn how to leverage AI.
Video game developers such as Sandfall Interactive and Larian Studios say they are using generative AI in their games.
AI is nothing new to video games. It was used in this game from the 80s for character behavior. It's used the same way in this 2026 video game. What is being changed is how it's being used. Now, AI can handle tasks usually given to developers, such as generating code or content.
FIA programming student Andrew Kohler says he sees the benefits of AI, but believes both FIA and the gaming industry need to move forward with caution.
We have this thing that's being pushed that can help us write code better, that can help us conceptualize these things. But there are conversations that aren't being had in the industry at the scale they need to be, aren't being had here at a scale they need to be.
In Orlando, Michael Shen, The Charge on Air.
FIEA's current cohort will finish its capstone project in the summer semester and enter their final internship-focused semester in the fall.
A new bill was passed in the Florida Senate that mandates medical training for doctors in sickle cell pain management.
Find out more about the bill and what the UCF Executive Director of Student Health Services says about it after the break.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Dad! Okay, here we go, throw it! Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Nice.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Florida is an epicenter of the sickle cell crisis, with Central Florida labeled a hotspot. But for those living with the disease, the pain is often compounded by a lack of medical understanding. The Charge on Air's Macchiarola shows us how a new state law is impacting local students.
For UCF student Esne Ibiam, a pain crisis is a biological battle. Healthy round blood cells turn into rigid crescents, or sickles, blocking oxygen.
It's like a muscle cramp. So like your muscles feel really tight and you can't really move it a lot. I get it in my legs often, so sometimes I will be like kind of limping more, or it'll be just harder for me to walk, and it really does hurt.
Because that pain is invisible, people with sickle cell disease often have to wait 30 minutes longer to receive pain medication than people with other chronic conditions. This is a gap in the care that lawmakers are now trying to bridge with SB 844. The new law mandates specialized education for Florida nurses and doctors to dismantle stereotypes and improve treatment protocols.
One of my biggest concerns is just like, do medical professionals know how to identify sickle cell pain and how to treat it? And it's really different. You think, oh, just give them some pain meds, like that's it. But it's really not.
At the UCF Student Health Center, Dr. Young Siddiqui says this training is vital for providers to recognize the urgency of a crisis.
I think the idea behind this law is to make sure that we are educated and aware that, yes, sickle cell patients are in a lot of pain, and let's work together to help manage their symptoms so that they don't feel like you said, afraid to seek help, or they are severely under-medicated.
Ensuring that for students like Esne, their pain is finally met with a plan. In Orlando, for the Charge on Air, I'm Macchiarola.
Under the new law, all Florida physicians and nurses must complete this specialized training by their next license renewal, with the goal of improving emergency outcomes statewide.
AI is driving increased energy demand and sparking a nuclear renaissance across the United States. Charge on Air reporter Michael Shen shows us how UCF is reacting to the surge.
No doubt we will have a massive, massive expansion in nuclear energy production in the United States.
The growing energy needs of AI are driving the Trump administration and big tech to push nuclear energy. The Trump administration says it wants a nuclear reactor on the moon by 2030 and U.S. nuclear capacity to grow to 500 gigawatts by 2050. Meta and Google say they are investing in nuclear energy to power their data centers. UCF Engineering Research Assistant Professor Dr. Justin Urso is a co-principal investigator on a $5 million 2025 grant to train nuclear engineers at UCF. He says that while UCF doesn't have a dedicated nuclear engineering program, it is still keeping pace.
We do have a couple courses in our physics department on nuclear physics relevant to power plants, as well as, on the power drive side, all of our turbine classes are relevant.
Florida is home to 2 active nuclear plants, Turkey Point and Homestead and St. Lucie near Hutchinson Island. In March, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission recommended extending St. Lucie's license by 20 years.
The massive energy needs of AI are causing state and federal government to look into ways to propel nuclear energy into the mainstream. House Bill 1461 would have made a framework for advanced nuclear reactors in Florida. While passing unanimously in the House, it failed in the Senate.
Timur Miratov is a senior aerospace and mechanical engineering student conducting research on molten salt nuclear reactors. He says UCF needs to expand its nuclear engineering opportunities.
Unfortunately, UCF is missing a nuclear department, and we are missing a lot of nuclear equipment itself.
In Orlando, Michael Shen, The Charge on Air.
U.S. Secretary of Energy Chris Wright says the first new nuclear reactors in the United States will almost certainly receive federal loans.
Do you feel the urge to sneeze? That's probably because the allergy season is in full swing here in Central Florida and is currently making its impact on those who have recurring allergy symptoms.
Find out what one UCF student says about her pollen allergy and how it's affecting her this spring.
Some people judge a book by its cover, and if you're not what people are looking for, you're kind of like a reject.
At school, it feels like everyone's staring at me and I'm just kind of not really a person.
Sometimes I can't believe that you could be proud of me if I'm not proud of myself.
It just was hard today. Nobody was listening to me.
Think of our best times together. Let's do more of that.
Try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
We want to bring in student weather anchor Claire Macchiarola for an update on current weather conditions in Central Florida. And Claire, what's the season looking like?
Well, hey guys.
Hey Claire.
How are you?
Yeah guys, so spring has sprung and Central Florida is not the exception. Central Florida's climate can make seasonal allergies a recurring issue for many residents. Drier weather intensifies environmental allergy symptoms. Charger and Air reporter Emily Gilbert tells us why the season can be particularly challenging.
Florida's allergy season can seem never-ending. Warm temperatures enable year-round plant pollination, meaning environmental allergens are often present. Orlando ranks number 33 on the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America's Allergy Capitals list, where pollen levels were rated worse than average. UCF student Sable Muro says her allergy symptoms have been especially bad this spring.
Like my head was congested, I was sneezing the entire day, and then for about the next few weeks I was just sneezing.
Spring is typically the peak of allergy season here in Florida, driven by tree pollen like the oaks around me, as well as other allergens such as grass pollen and ragweed.
Allergens are only part of the picture. When conditions are dry, allergy symptoms can worsen, including this year as Florida faces the most widespread and severe drought since 2012, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. Dr. David Bryan, UCF Student Health Services Interim Medical Director, says allergy treatment may also need to address that dryness.
One of the strategies to then treat allergies is to create some moisture. And one of the ways to do that is a saline nasal spray, for example.
Dr. Bond says 30 to 40% of the patients Student Health Services sees in the spring are somehow allergy related.
It has affected my classes in the past where I felt so unwell that I feel like I either can't come to class or I can't put all my effort into my assignments.
For students already juggling coursework, allergy symptoms can become more than an inconvenience when they begin affecting attendance and productivity. In Orlando, Emily Gilbert, The Charge on Air.
Environmental allergy symptoms will ease as wetter weather conditions return and the air becomes less dry. Until then, the allergy season remains a reality for Central Floridians. Florida is currently facing its worst drought in more than 25 years, with dry conditions becoming harder to ignore. From higher wildlife risk to growing concerns about water supplies, the drought is impacting communities across the states. Nearly all of Florida faced at least moderate drought, and nearly 80% faced extreme conditions in April 2026, according to data from the U.S. Drought Monitor. Let's check in with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University student meteorologist Liam John about expectations for this year's hurricane season.
Good afternoon, UCF Knights. I'm alleged meteorologist Liam John. I want to talk to you about hurricane season. This year, Colorado State University has predicted that we will have a below average season, just like 2025. Actually, in 2025, we had 13 named storms, 5 hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes. In 2026, 13 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes is what they're predicting. And that deviates a little bit from the average, where we have 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 majors on a normal year. So why is this happening? Well, this year is a major El Nino year. That means there's going to be warmer temperatures in the Pacific Ocean, which creates less wind shear over there, but that brings about more wind shear for us in the Atlantic, and hurricanes and wind shear, they really don't mix. The National Weather Service has released the hurricane names list for 2026. Arthur is the first one. Hurricane season officially starts on June 1st.
That's the latest for the weather. Now let's take a look back at our anchor desk. Edgar, Sabrina, take it away.
Thanks, Claire.
What will we do without her?
Nothing realistically. All right, coming up in sports.
Find out what goes into making the Plex ready for UCF softball on game day.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. One in 3 adults has prediabetes, and you could be one of them. There are usually no signs for prediabetes, so it's important to understand your risk. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed, and you can change the outcome. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Food can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
UCF Sports has made headlines throughout the course of 2026, from tennis hosting the NCAA Regionals to softball breaking school records. I'm Nick Williams, and let's take a look at this year's recap in sports. UCF softball has enjoyed its best season since joining the Big 12 Conference in 2023. The Knights have been a force at the plate all season long, breaking a whole host of records. Offensively, the team hit a new program high for home runs in a single season at 58. And the record-breaking squad doesn't stop at the plate. Former freshman All-American Isabella Vega recorded the 4th perfect game in program history in Houston. Vega is optimistic about what lies ahead for this team. The USTA National Campus hosted the Big 12 tennis tournament for the first time this season. Charge on Air reporter Edgar Rodriguez has more on what this means for collegiate tennis in Orlando moving forward.
Fans were in full voice at the USTA National Campus as the Big 12 tennis tournament rolled into Lake Nona. The world's largest tennis campus recently added the Big 12 to a long list of conference tournaments hosted. UCF Tennis Director of Operations Andy Gladstone explains what makes the facility such a difference maker.
The thing that differentiates it between the other facilities is they're able to draw people there who are not having to do with the college.
Crowd atmosphere is another factor that was a major talking point throughout the whole weekend. It's one that Andy thinks makes an invaluable difference.
I notice, as the players mature, they feed off the fans even more, and it is exciting.
The USTA National Campus is called the home of American tennis for a reason, and that's going to ring ever more true in the world of collegiate tennis starting in 2028.
Sincerely grateful for the opportunity, and we're very excited for the collaboration that we're going to be having with the NCAA and all these future opportunities with them.
Peyton Stoss, supervisor of tournaments and events at USTA, realizes it goes far beyond the court. He points to the people behind the scenes as the real reason behind their success when it comes to hosting the NCAA, the Big 12, the A10, and others.
Our team is small but mighty. We have about 4 people on our team that are going to be helping support these types of events. But we are very, very capable of taking on these large-scale events.
UCF is set to host NCAA regionals for the 2nd year in a row, solidifying the national campus's position in collegiate tennis. In Orlando, Edgar Rodriguez, The Charge on Air.
The Collegiate Center at USTA will also be receiving updates starting as soon as later this year. With the regular season entering its final stretch, UCF baseball is pushing to build momentum at the right time. The Knights have put together a competitive season, showing consistency at the plate and stepping up in key moments on the mound. The Knights will face a number of challenging opponents throughout the rest of the regular season slate. While pressure continues to mount, the focus now shifts to strengthening position in the standings. The Knights are looking to finish strong as they prepare for the Big 12 baseball tournament and keep their postseason hopes alive. As UCF softball continues its impressive season, there's another team working just as hard away from the spotlight. From sun up to sundown, the grounds crew at the softball complex makes sure everything is ready for play. I had the chance to take a behind-the-scenes look at the process. UCF softball has been putting on a clinic this season, but before any pitch, a different team is busy perfecting the stage.
Everything's pretty easy out here. It's just our little Zen garden.
Alex Enos, the assistant director of UCF Sports Turf and Grounds, knows one hiccup in his Zen garden can accidentally create a war zone.
If it gets too dry, you know, they're ripping rockets at the girls, and you don't want anybody to get their face taken off out here, so.
Most on staff are titled turf technicians, and one of these technicians, Ryan Zablonski, always loves to see his finished product.
The most rewarding part would definitely be, you know, when you finally get the game day, all the work you did the week before leading up to it, you finally get to see the team come out and play the game and hopefully get a win.
Typically, artwork belongs in a fancy gallery, but after any UCF softball game, it'll be covered with clay and sliding cleats.
They're the best, and I'm not just saying that. They're here like till sunrise and sunset, and they're always busting their butt in between innings and just making sure that the infield has the perfect infields for those ground balls, and then the outfield's ready to go in for the grass.
Outfielder Carly Jo Penner sees the crew during the day, but on some tournament weekends, staff like Enos decide not to leave the grounds.
Took a shower in the gym, hopped in the gator, came back, slept in the camper, and woke up at 6:45. I was back on the field at 7.
Not every night requires a sleeping bag at the Plex, but no one can doubt the endless hours UCF's grounds crew puts into their loudest Zen garden. From Orlando, Nick Williams, The Charge, on air. From practices to game day, it's a constant effort behind the scenes to keep the field in top condition for UCF softball. That's all for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Sabrina, we made it. Woo! Congrats, everyone. That's all our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on thechargednews.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great day, Knights.